They say, but this is good bid'ah. What made it good? Number one. Number two, if it is good, that means the deen is in need of it. If the deen is in need of it, that means the deen is incomplete. Are you following? If the deen accepts innovations, that means the deen is incomplete. And if the deen is incomplete, Allah says it is complete. So which one should we follow? What Allah says. So the deen, my dear brothers and sisters, should remain as it is, as it was 1400 years ago. Never add anything. Don't put your own words. Don't put your own ideas. Don't do that. Keep this deen and maintain this deen in its pristine form, in its original form. Don't add to it. Otherwise, we will be like those who preceded us. So the deen has been completed. That's why there is no room for bid'ah in the deen. So what is bid'ah? What is the definition of bid'ah? The definition of bid'ah, it is an invented method. It is an invented method or way in the deen. This is the key word. In the deen. That is not supported by an evidence, explicit evidence, either in the Quran or in the authentic traditions of the Prophet ﷺ. So anything in the deen that is not approved of either by the kitab or the sunnah, it is bid'ah. You find bid'ahs in the salah, bid'ahs in the siyam. One of the students of knowledge, he compiled a book this size, volume. Guess what? What's the name of the book? Akhta'ul Musallin. The mistakes the people, the musallin, the praying people make. One volume, full of mistakes. So the bid'ahs are everywhere. People are doing bid'ahs. Why? Because they don't know the sunnah. You can only avoid bid'ah if you know the sunnah. If you don't know the sunnah, you will fall into the bid'ah naturally. And when you leave the sunnah, you fall into the bid'ah. For instance, people, they have deserted the sunnah of Aqiqah. You know Aqiqah? When a child is born, on the 7th day you slaughter a sheep or goat, 2 for the boy, 1 for the girl, and you shave the head of the baby, and you weigh it and you give sadaqah. That is sunnah. People, they have deserted that. And they have replaced it with what? Birthday party. So after 1 year, we celebrate. Happy birthday to you. Right? That's what we do. So when you leave a sunnah, a bid'ah takes over. When you leave the sunnah, bid'ah replaces it. And I want you to know, my dear brothers, the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, so that you will differentiate between the bid'ah and the sunnah. Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ are 4 types. Write them down. 4 types. The saying of the Prophet ﷺ, this is sunnah qawliya. Sunnah fi'liya, the actions of the Prophet ﷺ. The third, sunnah taqririya, the approvals of the Prophet ﷺ. Number 4, sunnah tarkiya. Sunnah tarkiya, which means the things the Prophet ﷺ did not do in spite of the need. In spite of the need. So the first one is clear, saying the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. Actions, the things the Prophet ﷺ did. Pray as you have seen me praying. These are actions. Approvals, something happened in front of him and he kept quiet. That means it is what? Permissible or impermissible? Permissible, otherwise he could not keep quiet. He would have corrected. For instance, always you'll find in the books, the scholars always give this example, always. You know, there is an animal, a reptile, lives in Arabia called ad-dab, which is lizard. You know the lizard? Big size. So the Arabs, they eat it. So it was brought to the Prophet ﷺ and it was cooked. And the Prophet ﷺ was about to touch it. And it was the habit of the Prophet ﷺ to ask always about the food. But that day, he didn't ask, and he started touching the meat. They told him, "Oh, Prophet of Allah, this is dab. So he left it. He didn't eat. So Khalid ibn al-Walid immediately, he asked, "Is it haram, O Prophet of Allah?" He said, "No, it's not haram." So Khalid took it. He said, "I dragged the plate, I took the plate, and I started eating it, and the Prophet ﷺ was watching me." This proves what? Is dab halal or haram? Halal. Another example of his approvals, as in Hadith Bukhari, Jabir ibn Abdullah said, "Kunna na'zil wal Qur'anu yanzil." We were practicing coitus interruptus when the Quran was coming down. Which means, had the coitus interruptus unlawful, Allah would have revealed something regarding that. Are you following? Now, I conclude. People, they raise the question, the microphone is bid'ah, electricity is bid'ah, cars are bid'ah, sayyara are bid'ah. These are good innovations. How you can now say this is haram? We go back to the definition. The bid'ah which is haram in the dunya or in the deen? Tell me. In the deen. In the dunya, we want you to make bid'ah. We want you to make microphones. We want you to make cars, all Muslims. But the deen, leave it. But the Muslims, they left the dunya for the kuffar. And the deen, where Allah told them, don't touch it, they started making their own new deen. The opposite. The opposite, exactly. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, when he reached Medina, the people of Medina, they were farmers, and they were pollinating the palm trees. So they asked the Prophet, should we pollinate the palm trees this year? He said no. And the produce, the fruit became very bad quality. They came and said, you said don't pollinate. He said, we prophets of Allah were sent not to teach you how to run your mundane life. You are the experts. As long as you do it within the framework of the Sharia, may Allah increase our knowledge in the deen, and may Allah Azza wa Jal guide all the Muslims to the straight path. Ameen. And may Allah reward all of you, brothers and sisters, for your patience and attendance. Barakallahu feekum. Jazakum Allahu khayra. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.